In New York City, John Wick, seeking revenge against the High Table, seeks refuge underground with the Bowery King. Venturing to Morocco, he confronts and kills the Elder, a figure of authority within the organization. Unperturbed by this act, the Elder forewarns John of his perpetual strife. Meanwhile, Marquis Vincent Bisset de Gramont, a High Table member, mobilizes resources to eliminate John, reprimanding Winston, the New York Continental manager, for past failures. In a cruel twist, the Marquis punishes Winston by stripping him of his position, demolishing the New York Continental, and executing Charon, Winston's loyal associate. Aware of the injustice, Winston endures the agony of Charon's death. The Marquis coerces Kane, a retired assassin, into hunting down John, threatening Kane's daughter to ensure compliance. John seeks sanctuary at the Osaka Continental, managed by his friend Shimazu Koji. Despite warnings from Koji's daughter Akira about the High Table's inevitable pursuit, Koji refuses to forsake his loyalty to John. However, Koji cautions John about the consequences of his actions, especially after the destruction of the New York Continental. Koji emphasizes the relentless nature of the High Table's vendetta, urging John to contemplate the potential ramifications. When the Marquis's second-in-command, Chidi, along with High Table assassins and Kane, arrives to investigate the hotel, Akira takes decisive action to protect the guests. With Akira's guidance, the hotel is evacuated just before the High Table initiates its assault, sparking chaos. Despite her efforts, Akira expresses her disdain for John's presence, citing the danger it poses to everyone involved. In a relentless battle against armored assassins, John faces off against Kane, a formidable adversary. Their confrontation is interrupted by the arrival of Mr. Nobody, a bounty hunter who intervenes to aid John's escape. Mr. Nobody, recognizing the insufficient bounty placed on John's head by the High Table, opts to protect him until the bounty reaches a more substantial sum. Amidst the chaos, Akira, Koji's daughter, is wounded by mercenaries but survives. Despite his injuries, Koji bravely defends John, only to meet his demise at Kane's hand. Akira, consumed by a desire for vengeance, seeks John's assistance in avenging her father's death by urging him to kill Kane. Despite the High Table emissary, the Harbinger, deeming the violence at the Osaka Continental unnecessary, the Marquis remains resolute in his determination to eradicate John's influence. Summoning the bounty hunter Mr. Nobody, the Marquis attempts to negotiate a fee of $50 million for John's demise. However, when Mr. Nobody demands such a hefty sum, the Marquis resorts to violence, stabbing Mr. Nobody's hand and coercing him into accepting a lower bounty of $23 million to hunt down John. Upon returning to New York, John seeks counsel from Winston, who is mourning at Charon's gravesite. John expresses his desire to eliminate the Marquis, but Winston warns that the High Table will merely replace him. Instead, Winston proposes a solution invoking an ancient High Table tradition to challenge the Marquis to a duel. According to this tradition, if John can represent a crime family and win the duel, he will be absolved of all obligations to the High Table. However, John must first be readmitted to his former crime family, which was once seated at the High Table before his expulsion. Winston encourages John to pursue this path, suggesting that it may be their only chance to challenge the High Table's authority effectively. John journeys to the Berlin headquarters of the Ruska Roma crime syndicate, seeking readmission after cutting ties with them. His adoptive sister, Katia, lays down the condition for his return. John must eliminate Killa Harkin, a High Table member responsible for their father's murder. Meanwhile, Mr. Nobody informs the Marquis of John's whereabouts in Berlin, prompting the Marquis to shift his focus towards eliminating John. However, Mr. Nobody suspects the Marquis of manipulation, recognizing his ulterior motives in the escalating conflict. Katia leads John to Killa's location, where they encounter Kane and Mr. Nobody, both of whom were already tracking John under the Marquis's orders. As tensions rise, Killa proposes a deadly game of poker to determine John's fate, with the winner holding the power to decide the outcome. killer resorts to cheating, revealing his intent to eliminate all present parties, including Kane and Mr. Nobody. With a stroke of luck and assistance from unexpected allies, John emerges victorious, reclaiming his status within the syndicate. However, Kane intervenes, preventing Mr. Nobody from carrying out his own vendetta against John, as Kane harbors his own desire for John's demise. Winston serves as John's emissary, delivering his challenge to the Marquise, stipulating that if John emerges victorious, his excommunicado status will be lifted, and the New York Continental will be rebuilt at the High Table's expense. However, should John fail, Winston will meet the same fate as John's second. In Paris, John and the Marquise convene to finalize the duel's terms, moderated by the Harbinger, emissary of the High Table. The duel is set for sunrise at Sacred Coeur, with dueling pistols as the chosen weapons. The Marquise reluctantly nominates Kane as his surrogate, while the Harbinger issues a stern warning of consequences should either party fail to honor the agreement. Additionally, the Marquise offers Kane freedom from High Table obligations if he successfully eliminates John. The Marquise holds a firm belief that John Wick lacks purpose, viewing him as a wandering soul in search of death. Determined to facilitate this end, the Marquis prepares to impede John's journey by placing a hefty bounty of $26 million on his head. As dawn approaches, John faces relentless opposition from hired assassins en route to Sacred Coeur. Despite the obstacles, he perseveres, aided by unexpected allies and his unwavering resolve. Meanwhile, the Bowery King arrives in Paris to equip John with a specialized pistol and protective gear. Aware of the imminent danger, the Marquis escalates the bounty to $40 million in a desperate attempt to halt John's progress. In a fierce confrontation, John confronts Mr. Nobody, engaging in hand-to-hand combat. Despite Mr. Nobody's fierce resistance, John gains the upper hand, thwarting his pursuer's efforts to hinder his journey. In a crucial moment, John's compassion prevails as he intervenes to save Mr. Nobody's dog, ultimately prompting Mr. Nobody to abandon his pursuit, allowing John to continue towards his destiny. As John nears the summit, he encounters resistance from the Marquise's agents, leaving him with mere minutes to reach his destination. In a crucial moment, Kane intervenes, urging John to honor the duel's appointed time. With the assistance of Kane and Mr. Nobody, John navigates through a barrage of assailants. Including the formidable Chidi, dispatched by Mr. Nobody. Despite Kane's betrayal, John and Kane engage in a fierce duel, with each inflicting wounds upon the other in 2 rounds of gunfire. However, the 3rd round is interrupted when Kane grievously injures John. Seizing the opportunity, the Marquis offers Kane and his daughter freedom from High Table obligations in exchange for administering the final blow. However, Winston exposes the Marquis's hubris, revealing that John has yet to fire his third bullet. Taking advantage of the moment of surprise, John swiftly eliminates the Marquis, concluding the duel with a decisive headshot, and thus ending the conflict. Following the duel's conclusion, the Harbinger grants both Kane and John freedom from the High Table's obligations. Additionally, Winston is reinstated as the manager of the New York Continental, which will be reconstructed using the High Table's resources. Reflecting on his past and his lost love, Helen, John succumbs to his injuries. In a poignant moment, Winston and the Bowery King pay their respects to John at his gravesite in New York, where he is laid to rest beside Helen. However, in a post-credits scene, Kane's peace is disrupted when he is confronted by Akira, seeking vengeance. Thanks for watching. Knife in hand. If you're enjoying the content, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more. We release new content every week, so stay tuned for more exciting videos.